your choice. Así que como siempre, ¿verdad? Tenemos servicios de interpretación. Asegúrense de escoger español si gustan escucharla en español, ¿verdad? O inglés, el lenguaje de su preferencia. Ok, muchas gracias. So it is a webinar, right? As you well know, we like to hear from you, families. So if you'd like to ask a question, remember we have the Q&A so that you can also send us questions that you may have. I believe our chat might be open where only our panelists will be able to see your the questions or comments that you may have. So our objectives today are to discuss the important transitions for new high school students, right? We know that we just ended a school year, but in a couple, 2 months or less than that, we'll be starting another school year, and many of our students will be new high schoolers, right? So we want to discuss important transitions for these students and also provide you families with some resources so that you can support your child in this transition. Thank you. Right. I then want to start with an inclusion activity, and we want you to think back to the summer before you started high school. For some of us, it will be a few years, many years to remember back to, right? I'm speaking for myself. Some of you maybe less, but thinking back of that summer before you started high school. So, what was it that concerned you? What was it that excited you most about starting high school? The idea of starting high school, the impending coming new year when you would be a ninth grader. I have to say that for some of us, right, starting high school meant starting in the 10th grade. So you can tell, it's been a long while for me. But thinking back, right, what excited you, what concerned you about starting high school? So you may either post it in the chat or post it in the Q&A, and I will need one of my colleagues to read out any comments that may come up, please. Okay, so maybe I am going to, as I ask my colleagues, I will also put them on the spot in a little bit, right? Asking them to tell me what they remember, what they were thinking. So if either of my colleagues,
I'll go
who
first, Ms.
share.
Monson.
Oh, all right, Ms.
Okay.
Dolera, you were thinking. Come on, tell us.
Yes, I was actually.
Okay, what were
One
you?
of the first things I remember before starting high school, I was, of course, very nervous, very excited, preparing what was I going to wear that week, and the work that was coming and a new place. I was just super excited. I couldn't sleep.
Mm.
And just getting ready. I remember going shopping for clothes and school supplies. And it was just very, very exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time.
Okay. So you had both feelings, excitement and a little bit concern, maybe, right, about what was coming. Miss Saint Amant, what were you thinking?
Yes, I was thinking very much along the same lines of Anna, like what I was going to wear. I went to Catholic school, so I had a new uniform, and my uniform was different. And, I had been in one uniform for 8 years, and, going to high school, now I have a new uniform. So I was really excited about that. I was also going to school, high school with some friends from my school, so we didn't all go to the same high school from my neighborhood, but so I was excited about that. So going to high school and starting with some friends of mine, and then also just wearing a new uniform.
Wow. So clothing was a major concern. I hear there's a
Major
trend there,
concern.
right?
Major concern.
So I also see here, right, that people, Ms. Velasco says, nervous about being the youngest on campus. That's right, right? You were the big person on campus in 8th grade, in middle school, no longer, right, once you go to high school. And then about the workload, you were a little bit concerned, Ms. Velasco, about that, right? That's true. So Ms. Holman says, I was excited about having a locker onto
Yeah.
yourself. Wow, right?
Like Saved by the
like
Bell.
Saved by the Bell, right? And I don't remember, I don't
Love
think
that
we
show.
have that luxury anymore of having some schools, right? Most might not have lockers anymore for our students.
Yeah.
But I do know that, yeah, it was exciting to have a locker on Jill sale, right? And then, but then we didn't. You said, okay. So again, these are a few of the things that come to mind, right, about that transition from eighth grade to ninth grade, from middle school to high school. So yes, we've gone down memory lane for a little bit, but let's now think about our students, right, who are about to begin uh, high school. And we know, right, that it is not an easy time. We know that their brain, right, high schoolers' brain, adolescents' brains are about 80% on the way to maturity. And I said, wonderful. 80% it's a high percentage. They are going to be very mature. But no, right? The concern is that 20%, right? That 20% that is still not there yet in terms of maturity, and especially right the prefrontal cortex, the PFC, and that is the location of the brain that is involving planning, organizing, impulse suppression, and weighing consequence. Not yet mature. And think about that. These are the things that we want our high schoolers to be able to do, right? To plan, to organize, to impulse control, right? And then also to weigh consequences. So not there yet. So we know that there's still a while for the brain to mature, right? Not in adolescence yet, not even until very early 20s, right? As we know. So it is important to keep this in mind that our kids still need us. Just because they're going to high school, right? That doesn't mean that they no longer need us. So I just want to make you aware of that. Your child will need you for support, as they will need and continue to need you right throughout their lives, but especially at this time of transition to high school. So just right, knowing that, being aware of the fact that no, they are mature, but not as mature as we might think, right? We still need to support them. And also, right, this is just having a little bit of fun in terms of the brain, right? The average teenage brain and what we think sometimes adults, right? Like we were in, teenagers at some point, that our teenagers' brains. This is kind of fun. Think about that, right? A big part of their brain goes to love and rebellion. And right, that part of love for parents, they love you, they hate you at the same time. There are moments that they are moody, right? And then imagine, as we well know, but that memory, the little spot for memory for chores and homework, yeah, not that big. And we know that, right? So again, the brain, the teenage brain, right? They are on their way to maturity, but not there yet. So we want to make sure, right, that we keep supporting them throughout. So again, this is not a scientific view of the brain of a teenager. This is just for fun, but that speaks in truth, right, to what we know about adolescence. So I just wanted to have these terms here for you because in the presentation you will hear freshmen, and that's when we did what we called our first year high schoolers, right? Freshmen or ninth graders. And then you hear sophomores or 10th grade, junior or 11th grade, senior in 12th or 12th grade. So just so that you know that you will hear the term freshman, but we are referring to obviously ninth graders, okay? And then, right, we want to know about those transitions. So again, thinking about the transitions, the research does say, right, that we need that smooth transition to ninth grade because that will allow our students to have success, not just in high school, but beyond, right? So making sure that the transition is as smooth as possible is what we want, our goal, our aim, right? But we know that this transition, as our colleagues express, and some of you might have felt, right? It's filled with great anxiety and stress. Not for all, but for many adolescents. So I would say the majority, right, are filled with that anxiety and stress about impending ninth grade, being a ninth grader, going to maybe a new school, right? So again, we have to be mindful and aware of the fact that our teenagers might not say so. Remember, they don't communicate too much, right? But they are feeling that stress and that anxiety about a new year. So again, why do our freshmen then, those, not all of them, right? But those that do, why do they get off track? We want them to be on track to graduation, right? That is the goal of not just high school. We're talking from pre-K on, right? They are on the road, on the track to graduate. That's what we want them to do. But some of them might get off track. And what might contribute to that, to our students getting off track? We know that there's the social and developmental adjustment that they have to make, that there's structural and organizational changes, that there's increased academic rigor and failure, right? That's what gets them or might contribute to getting them off track. Again, we want them on track, but we know that that doesn't happen for all. So, what might be the reasons? These are the reasons, but how does that manifest? How does that show? So in social adjustment, we know that again, they are still going through those changes, right? So they find challenges that are physical, emotional, and cognitive, right? Because they're still going through those changes. And they are at the same time, think about it, ninth grade to 12th grade is 4 years. And they become an adult officially, right? At least legally when they're hit 18. So they're also wanting to increase, right, that independence from the parents. So they have that desire, right, to be independent, and they will test, right, because we are in a way, right, telling them once you're out of high school, you are 18, you are an adult. So we are saying that to them. But imagine, they are still not, as research said, yet mature enough. So again, this might be one of this social adjustment is what they're trying to cope with, right? And it is again our responsibility to support that and know that, right? So again, something else about adolescents, we know that their social life, right, and peer relationships have more importance to them even than academic concerns. So we have to be aware of that. And you might have noticed that, right? That's big on their mind, right? It's about the social life and their relationship with other students and other peers. So again, during the time of transition, right? It, it might be a difficult time, and if it is too difficult, they may develop lower self-esteem and fears about those new social circumstances. So again, we have to be mindful and aware of what our students and your child are going through, right? Because we see that it is a time fraught with different challenges for them. So again, that social adjustment might be an issue for many of them that might cause them, right, to get off track. So what do we do, right? What do we have for our students that are going to high school? Some schools, right, offer summer bridge programs. I mean, I know that one my niece is actually attending one, and what happens is that this gives them an opportunity when they are that summer that they get to know more some of the students, right, in some bridge programs that will attend the high school they are going to attend. So they start making friends, getting to know people, right? At least they'll see a face they recognize on the first day of ninth grade if they have this opportunity to attend bridge programs. In one, and then once they have started high school, right? The many high schools are aware of the fact that our ninth graders need our support, and they have specific ninth grade academies so that the students are with each other, ninth graders, they get to know each other, right, in ninth grade academies. It is important also, right, to help our children, our ninth graders, identify their support network. Who are the adults, right, that will support them? Let's identify them. We know that we have PSWs, PSAs, counselors, right, are a big, important part of the schools of the students' school life, high school life in particular. So again, let's identify or help them identify those adults that will offer them support. Okay, so counselors again offer great support to our students, and they will have a counselor assigned to them. Okay, and again, once they are already in class, we know that our teachers are awesome, right? Our teachers are on the lookout, they know, and they will have them work in cooperative groups, right? So that's another way for them to get to know partners, make new friends, especially, right? If they're going to a school, obviously that is new to them, and maybe even in another city, right? And now they are going to not know anyone. So it is important for them to start making those connections to other students, to other adults, so that they can adjust the best they can, right? Other options, right, to get to know people, to make friends, might be to join clubs, right? Maybe there's some music options, band, right? Choir, probably. And then there are team sports that they might want to join. So these are all the areas or places where your child, right, might make new friends, right, or more friends once they get to high school. And again, we need to keep them, right, guiding them to make good choices, right? So this is what we can do to ensure, or at least help, right, our ninth graders make that transition, or once they are in high school, right, make sure they make good choices so that they can have a good time. We want high school to be not a time of stress, right? It's a time of growth and preparation for post secondary. So we want them to have the best time possible there, right? So other changes that may we might have or that they might face are structural and organizational changes, right? In high school, again, we already talked about the levels. Right now, might be a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, and they have to go through that process. It's kind of an identity for them too, right? To know where who they are and where they are in the levels of high school, right? So the expectations, procedures, and rules of high school, yeah, they're very much similar, maybe to middle school, yes. So again, structure and organization similar from high school and middle school, not too much change. Very multiple teachers, many classes, right? Maybe academic tracks that are different. So very similar in structure, I guess, to definitely to middle school. But we know that some high schools are rather large, and because they are much larger, maybe more competitive, right? And they might feel less personal for the students. So we know that in our district, I know many of our high schools, right, have small learning communities, ninth grade academies, as a way to ensure that they dedicate and get to know each of the students that come to their schools. So I know that these are some ways that we have in ensuring that our students don't feel anonymous, right? That they know that there are caring adults around them, and they get to know students who go to the same classes as they do, right? In small learning communities and ninth grade academies. But in terms of structure, right, this is something new for many of them that they have to know. Maybe there's a new bell schedule, right? From middle school now that they have to get used to, and that might be changed. And I know that some schools, uh, different days have different schedules or different classes. So it's very important for them to get to know the structure and organization of that new school, right? They maybe they have extracurricular offerings that they didn't have in middle school, and I'm sure many more, right? So this is something that they might need to know and find out, right? Something new in that school. Team sports too, okay? So again, it's a different, bigger place, similar to middle school, but definitely not the same. We know that, right? So we need to ensure that our students get to know the school, get to know what the school offers, how it is organized, what the expectations are, right, of that school. Maybe they will have new procedures, and then the rules that they may have. Okay. Um, a very big and important part, right, is the transition, the academic transition. This is the slide that we showed last week for the transition from elementary to middle school, but I thought I would bring it back because it is important to know that they are not coming to the ninth grade without any preparation, right? They have had 8 years or more, maybe 9 if they went to K and pre-K, right? Of preparation getting them to high school. So in middle school, they have learned the new concepts, right, that are similar to high school, like GPA, credits, courses. Now they have letter grades as opposed to numbers as in elementary, right? They have learned, hopefully, right? They have mastered and done well in middle school, keeping up with their materials, ensuring that they have developed good study habits, that they have kept up good grades in middle school, that they have learned how to manage their time. Remember, just as in high school and middle school, many multiple teachers, multiple classes, that they have learned that it is important, right, to complete their homework assignments, and that they have had maybe in middle school had the opportunity already to join extracurricular activities and clubs that they may want to do in high school. So again, they don't come without any preparation to ninth grade, right? They have had the experience of middle school. But we know again that if they don't master, we could say, or do well, right, in those procedural and social transitions, that impacts their academic performance. And we want to make sure that we help them along in middle school so that they can make a good transition to high school. So ninth grade does matter, right? Many people feel that, well, ninth grade, yeah, good or bad. No, ninth grade is very important. Remember, at the end of 12th grade, what they did in ninth grade will be accounted, right? So the classes, the grades they get will count in 12th grade for the transcripts to go to college. So it is important that they start right from the very, very beginning, that they do well, right? We cannot wait until 11th grade. We cannot wait until 12th grade, right? We have to ensure and support our children to start well in a ninth grade as a freshman, right? They might not feel that they can do it, but we know that we are there to support them, that you parents are there to support them. Because we know that the single most predictive indicator of high school dropout, right? We want to avoid dropouts, is that if they're not doing well academically, right, in the ninth grade, that might set them up for success or it might set them up for failure. And we want to avoid failure at all costs. We want all of our incoming ninth graders to 4 years later, right, walk down and graduate. So this is something that we have to keep in mind. Academics are very important in high school and beginning in the ninth grade. We cannot postpone that, right? So early intervention or just being aware from the very beginning of how your child is doing is essential. It's crucial, parents. Again, it will not be as easy as middle school, right? There will be increased academic rigor. There will be increased expectations for independent work. But that doesn't mean that we're going to leave them alone. Yes, we want them to become more and more independent, right? They are maturing, they'll become young adults soon, right? But we want to, even though we have those expectations, right, that they become more mature and more independent, we have to be there along the way with them, right? Because we know that at this time, right, there will be an academic decline in academic achievement, okay, in this transition from middle school to high school, okay? And that may lead again to dropout rates, and they are huge or bigger than we would want in ninth grade. So again, ninth grade is a very important and crucial year for all our adolescents. We want to make sure that we keep along with them, we are with them along the way and support them, right? Again, something that might account for that dropout rate in ninth grade might be that they were not adequately prepared coming in. So again, ninth grade, it's important, but remember that they have had again, at least 8 or 9 years before that, right, to prepare for ninth grade. So we want to make sure that we start in pre-K, getting our kids ready so that these transitions that come along the way are successful, right? And this is one of the biggest and most important transitions, the one from middle school to high school, okay? So if they come well prepared, they will do well, right? That might be less difficult for them. So we want to make sure that we increase, because there will be increased academic rigor, that we make it relative to them, that they are that they like high school, right? That they see that's important, that is something they can relate to, that it will be beneficial and important to them. So that is kind of where we are in our job too as adults, to ensure that we support them that along the way, right? So again, this is academic rigor, academic adjustments that they have to make. We want to make sure that they are successful because again, ninth grade is a crucial year for that. So parents, what is your role in all of this, right? So we want to make sure, parents, that you know that you are essential in this at this time. Okay, I know, and my experience as a high school teacher and having worked in high school for 21 years, right? 22, I think, is that we didn't hear from too many parents, right? We didn't have as much involvement and engagement. It's felt to us, right? At least physically. You might have been engaged differently, but we know that that's kind of what happens, right? We want them to become more independent. Again, yes, we want them to become more independent, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to be there next to them, right? So, parents, it is important for you to keep communication open with the school, right? So, in addition to remember that the more you communicate, the students will like that, right? Your child will know, oh, my parents care. They still care, right? I'm a high schooler. Yes, they will be keeping an eye for that. They will hear it, right? And we want you to then continue communicating with us at a high school level more than any other time. It's so important, right? So again, if you communicate with us, we have parent portal, we have Schoology. You can send us emails. You can send every teacher. You can communicate with each one of the students' teachers, right? And you can also come to the school when we can, right? We'll be able to come back to our school sites, get to know the people around them, right? Who are their teachers? Have you met them, right? We need to be sure we communicate and keep those lines of communication open throughout high school. And students whose parents are involved are usually more adjusted, very important. If the parents are involved, students are more adjusted. So collaboration, again, is essential, right? You collaborate with the adults at the school site. We are a team, right? We are a team. The school staff, teachers, other staff, and you parents, we're a team. So we have to collaborate to ensure our students see the end of the road, at least, that transition, right? Through in middle school, in high school, from middle school to high school, and then graduation, right? So you parents are integral in guiding your children through this time of transition. Okay, that's very important for you to know. Collaboration, capacity building. So yes, right? Maybe we don't know everything. Maybe we didn't attend high school in this country, right? Some of us maybe didn't get to do that, or we didn't have to go through a transition from middle school to high school here in this country. That happens, right, to many of us. But still, we need to get familiarized with the system, right, with what the expectations are of our high schools. And parents, you can do it, right? We need to continue building our capacity. We are here for you, supporting you, providing you information. Each of your schools is also supporting you, right? They want you to be there. We have programs, we have classes, we have workshops, right, for you parents, because we want you to feel that you are able to, that you can, and together we can continue building our capacity, right? So that you can positively intervene. We want you to be part of it. And it says here, right, that parents, the studies have found that students whose parents monitor, right, continue monitoring and positively intervene in their child's activities. Positively, I want to say, even though our kids might not want to or think, right, that they don't want to, they want us there. So if we do that, it is more likely that those transitions into high school will be easier, right? So again, I'm going to show this in Spanish just for a second. It was too much content to put in one slide. So I'll just have our Spanish speaking parents that might be with us right now take a little bit of time to read about this. But I know that our interpreters did an awesome job interpreting. Okay, but again, this is very important. I do want to say that parents are essential, and it is important for you to keep up, right, with what your child is doing. And teenagers might not want to, might seem right that they don't want us involved, but we know that they do, that they need it, not just want to, but need it, even if they say no. So let's keep up with them, right? So. Uh, Parents, okay, you have to empower yourselves, and you have to empower your child, right? Talk to your child, right? Knowledge is important, knowledge is power, we say, but it has to come with action. What are we doing? How are we supporting them, right? So talk to them. If you know the information, give them the information. If you don't know the information, we can always look it up. We can always ask, right? So it is important to empower our child and also be an advocate for them. And in addition, teach our children to advocate for themselves. This is very important. If your child needs to speak up, he or she should know, right, that they can come to an adult and speak up. Okay. It is very important to teach them from the very beginning, right? From pre-K to be self-advocates. We advocate for them. Yes, you are their. I like this image here, right? You are their parents, and they see you as heroes, right? You need to continue being that hero for your child in high school. So please advocate for them, but also as they become more independent, right? They need to know that they should also advocate for themselves. Give them those tools. And it's not something that you just tell them, advocate for yourself. There's learning involved, right? And we're going to talk about it in a minute. So parents, again, it's important for you to stay in the loop, right? And we have some tools. We have some in LAUSD. We have the parent portal. We have Schoology, right? We have the school websites. You can also become a volunteer. And these are ways in which you can still stay connected with your child's school. Okay. I know our children, so many of them like their parents, seeing them in the school site as volunteers, believe it or not, right? So in terms of parent portal, I do want to definitely say that is one of the important tools that we have for you parents that you can use, right? So you know that if you have a parent portal account, you know this, right? And if you don't, just be informed, right? That this is what you can find in the parent portal. Once your child is connected, right, added to your parent portal account, you can find a lot of information, right? You can be on top of their attendance. You can look at their attendance, and it's on a daily basis. It's in real time, right? You can find out about their attendance. We have to keep track of their attendance. Attendance is very important in high school and in middle school. Well, all every year, right? But it is very important for us to know our child's attendance and be aware, okay, of that. So again, this is something that you can see in real time. Check their attendance. You can look at their assignments and grades, see how they're doing, how they're progressing, what they might need, what they might be missing. If your child is part of the English learner program, you can check their English learner progress, right? There's information about health and wellness, student discipline. It's also part of the parent portal pages is there in this platform, right? Student testing results, you can find them there. If your child participates in special education program, you can view your child's IEP parents. So this is a very important tool, right, for parents of students who participate in the special education program or receive special education services. Additionally, you can complete applications, online applications. You can access them through the parent portal, and you can update your emergency card if you need to. Very important, right? Sometimes we are calling homes and numbers are wrong, numbers no longer work. It is essential, parents, that you keep the school informed and up with your updated contact information. Okay, and emails are becoming a very important way for us to communicate with you. So again, it's important, parents, that you collaborate. Remember those three C's: communicate and collaborate with us, because this is the way we're going to support your children. If your child uses LAUSD transportation, real-time information, once we get back, right, or when that happens, you will see real-time information about transportation. And speaking of high school, right, this is an awesome page, the progress towards graduation, that you will be able to see, parents. So again, I urge you, parents, it is very important for you to know about Parent Portal, to use Parent Portal. This here, Progress Towards Graduation, will keep you informed of the credits, of the requirements, where your child is, what he or she might need. So again, very essential use of Parent Portal for high school parents, parents of high school students, right? Progress reports, obviously, you can find here. There's link to the gifted and talented programs, and very important, Schoology. Parents, you know you have your own Schoology page, right? So in your Schoology page, if you have one child or more than one, you can access your child's Schoology page too. Now, you won't be able to see everything that's in your child's Schoology, personal Schoology account, but you will be able to see important information. You will be able to see their grades, their assignments, what they have completed, and most importantly, you will be able to communicate with the teachers. Okay, this is an awesome tool, platform, Schoology, that you can use, right, to support your high school student. Okay, so we urge you parents to get connected with us, get connected with your school, right, and support your child by getting your parent portal account. Um, Again, now we have information about transitioning to high school for students with IEPs, right? So just like we discussed last week, right? It is important that you talk to your child about high school, right? They are making this transition to a bigger place. So explain to them how it is different. Review with them those successful middle school strategies that they have already learned, right? How they can also use them in high school, and parents know the services available at the school. Meet with the special education administrator at the new school. Talk to them, right? Discuss your child's IEP goals and accommodations with the administrator and with the teachers as soon as you can. Visit the campus with your child. Get familiarized with the layout, right? Understand where they're coming, where they're going, where the classes might be, right? So this is very important for our students, and establish communication with teachers. Communication, again, is essential. So correspond with them. And again, Schoology and Parent Portal are excellent tools, right, to communicate with parents. But as soon as you can, make sure you get to know the teachers, right, in person, if better, right, if you can. So those are some suggestions that we have for you in terms of establishing communication and with the teachers, and ensuring that your student with an IEP makes also a successful transition to high school. Speaking of staff, right, at our schools, we know that we have many people that we can turn to should we need to. It is important to get to know the staff at the school site, right? We have coordinators, we have principals, counselors. Counselors are essential in high school, right? We have academic counselors, they guide them up with their academics. But we also have counselors like a PSW, that psychiatric social workers, or the ones who work with attendance, right? So we have a whole group of support, right? Wraparound support for your children. But parents, it is incumbent upon you to get to know them, right? We know that our office staff is awesome. They answer so many of our questions, right? When we call them. We have many schools in many classes. There might be teacher assistants. Our cafeteria staff is awesome, right? So we want to get to know them too. Why not? Especially if you are a volunteer at the schools, that you will get to know them. Schools have before and after school programs, and the staff, right? If your child participates in before and after school programs, get to know the staff. It is important too, right? They can support you. The custodial staff, the school volunteers, everyone in a school site is important, right? We are all working together to ensure our students are successful. We all do. We know that what we do is because we want every single one of our students, your children, to be successful parents. So, in terms of how else we might support your child, remember that this is going to be, for many, a very difficult time, right? Adjusting to a new school is not easy. So, understanding those difficulties, right? We want to have our students prepare, get them prepared. And we know that social emotional learning is essential, right, for their growth, so that they can tackle these new challenges, so that they can deal with these new unexpected situations that they might find, right? So we are going to leave you. I want to leave you with this particular website, link, right, to a location where we have the videos that Mr. Sagredo, our psychological what is it? Workers, to psychiatric social worker, Mr. Sagredo, recorded for us during our Title I conference, right? So we want to make sure that you have the time to view them, and they're both in English and in Spanish. And again, it talks about the growth mindset, self-efficacy, self-management, social awareness. So these are the learning that your child has to do from the very beginning, right? And continue. And this is for adults too, believe me, right? We all can continue learning and growing in our social emotional areas, right? So please view it, and we hope you can, because this is one way we can continue to support children. um, a website that I found very informative. It's this one here, understood.org. And I have placed in the same location various articles for parents that speak to the transition to high school. Okay. So a particular article that I have there for you talks about the steps for creating a smooth transition, and that for parents, right? How you can help, meeting with the school, discussing class selection, exploring extracurricular activities with your child, brushing up on social skills, right? Going to the orientation and touring the campus, reviewing student work handbook. So we have in LAUSD, we have the parent student handbook, right? It's a good tool also, source of information. Meeting with teachers early, right? Let's not wait, okay, until the end of the year or middle of the year. If you can, and it's possible, if it is possible, let's meet with teachers as early as possible. As I said earlier, encourage self advocacy. And even before then, provide some summer structure, get them used to the new schedule, right? So, when are they going to practice, right? Even 3 weeks before school starts, make sure that they are getting up early so that they can have that already master, right? Are used to it by the time they have to start school. And support, as always, summer reading. Summer is a good time to continue learning, right, parents? So we're not going to look at the video yet. Okay, I just want to make sure that if there are any questions that we can answer, we have the time for that. So might there be any comments or that we can address at this point, colleagues?
No questions in the chat just yet. There was actually in the Q&A though, there was a question regarding whether or not sixth graders or middle schoolers, or probably even high schoolers, someone new to the campus, someone just transitioning from elementary to middle or middle to high, how might they have the opportunity to visit the campus?
Yeah, that's a great
Yes.
question. Yes.
Ms. Monton, maybe I can help answer a little bit of that. So right now our schools are in transition to summer school. So once we start the new school year, you will have outreach from the schools for all those different opportunities. It'll also depend on where we're at with our planning and number of folks that can come on campus at the same time. So there's a lot of factors that are still being placed and considered. So as we're opening up, it might look a little bit different this year, but I do know that there's plans, of course, to make everyone feel welcome and have opportunities for folks to connect with the school. It just might look a little bit different than what we're traditionally used to.
Okay, right. So yes, right, parents, it is important for you would want to do that, in a year, a regular year, we could say, right? That's what we would want you to do, and we still might be able to do that, but take into consideration where we are, right? The pandemic is not necessarily over, and we would want you to then contact the school, right? Maybe talk to the school. The schools know what they can and they can't do, right? So approach your school. Get to that might be a good thing to do. But again, even if you're not able to visit the school, you can visit their webpage to get familiarized. Start there. Get familiarized with the school's website. It'll tell you a lot of information. I was looking at a school's webpage this morning, and it was wonderful. They had all the teachers in the first, the landing page. There they were, all these teachers at that school, from that school, right? So you can learn a lot about the school by visiting their webpage and call them and see what possibilities there might be. But remember, we are still trying to be as safe as possible, even though we might come back in person. That doesn't mean that we are, not taking care of safety first. So that is important to consider. Anything else that we might need to address?
Yes, Shanette Holman asked, how can I make sure my child's school is practicing DEI and the curriculum that is being taught? What is relative to them being successful?
Communication, right? So again, when we know when we want to know something about the school, let's communicate. Clear, open communication is key, right? So I would advise parents to always keep in mind that the school does welcome your input. The school wants you to be part of your child's education, even in high school. Okay, so it is important, please, to communicate. Communication, collaboration, capacity building. Parents, those are the three key elements, I believe, right? So that we can work together and so that we can ensure a successful graduation. That's what we want, right? We want them all to be graduated by and reach 100% graduation at some point, and then transition into college and career, right? So together we can do that, but communication is key, right? Let's not assume. Let's ask and get the
If you can happy.
information. Anything else that we might want to? Okay, can the schools also offer Spanish classes for those who want to learn Spanish for free? Well, we know that in high school they have world languages and they do have Spanish classes. I am not sure if that's the setting that you are asking about specifically, right? But we know that we have adult education. We know that college for adults, right? Colleges, community colleges offer those classes. I'm not sure if that's the kind of setting that you're speaking to about classes, right? For Spanish classes. We know that our schools, many of them, especially in elementary and now many more middle school and high schools, have dual language programs where we are ensuring that our students become bilingual, multilingual, right? So that is also something that you might want to look into for your children. Anything else? Oh, A through G requirements and the California Department of Education requirements. Yeah, would be a long presentation, Ms. Virginia Arida, but let me just say that LAUSD graduation requirements contain both A through G requirements and California Department of Education requirements. So when we talk about LAUSD graduation requirements, we are ensuring that your child, right, has the potential, they can meet, they can take the courses to meet A through G and those additional CDE requirements. An additional social science class, I believe, right, would be a CDE requirement. So yes, we are ensuring that LAUSD requirements combine both and everything is there, right, for your child to graduate, Ms. Virginia. Every year, your school should be providing you this presentation on LAUSD requirements, but you know what? There is a page, now that I think about it, we have all this information in our LAUSD website. So our LAUSD website, if you type in search GPS, believe me, GPS in the search area in our LAUSD website, it'll take you to the page where you have all this information about requirements. And as always, call us, contact us, right, if you have additional questions. Will distance learning still be available for mid and high school students? I believe that we have that parents, you have an option of distance learning, but your child would have to attend, if I'm not mistaken. What is the name of the school again, Ms. Arin and colleagues?
City of Angels.
City of Angels, right? So your child would have to be part of City of Angels. They would have to change schools, right? They would not be a student at the current a student at the current school, but they would have to enroll in City of Angels, and that's where they could do distance learning. But as of right now, as I understand it, our schools, all of our schools, are not. That's not an option to have distance learning. You can do that in LUSD, but you would have to enroll your child in City of Angels. Okay, that is one of our schools. So if there's nothing else or any other questions, ¿cómo motivar a los estudiantes? Yeah, that's going to be very important, Ms. Salazar, right? Motivating students to come to go to school and to go to college. Well, I just have to say that all of us together will have to support our children, right? It's been difficult for everyone. It's been difficult for them. I understand, right? But transitions, right, are important. Transitions are not easy. And this is why it is very important to think about how we support our children in their social emotional learning so that whenever, and they will encounter more transitions. This is just one more, right? But imagine they're going to transition from high school to college, from college to the workforce and life, right? And in life, how many transitions do we go through? So many. So we have to have the skills, right? The abilities to make those transitions. And we have to make sure that we have that growth mindset, that we develop our self-efficacy, that we have that self-management and social awareness to make transitions in life uh, successful, successful as we can, right? So other than that, that's all I could say, Miss, I believe, let me see, Miss Salazar, okay? So I will leave you then with this video. Let me not just show it right now. Okay, I think we can. Before we do that, here I am again. Before we do that, because I wanted just to let you know before you go, because I'm going to leave you with the video, but I want you to also know that we are having one more Tech Talk tomorrow, and we want to invite you to be with us, right? It's about sharpening reading, learning skills, reading to learn skills, so that your child can have a successful school year and maybe they can practice them, right? Doing their summer reading. So tomorrow we hope you are with us, right? And so that you can learn about the skills your child will need to learn, right? Not anymore learning to read, but reading so that they can continue growing. Okay, and leaving you with the phone number should you have any questions, right? Some of us might not be available in this some weeks, but you can always contact the LUSD family hotline should you need to, 213-443-1300. Okay, I know we have a time enough then for the video, and I'm going to leave you with that. Okay.
When I first started high school, I was really afraid of it being a lot harder than middle school.
The scariest part was grades.
Please unmute, Ms. Vilma. We can't hear the video.
What my friend group was going to be, but then I realized that there's tons of different people and you can definitely find a place.
Not knowing my classes and where they were.
There's this new school, but it's huge.
Once you get to know the building, it's pretty easy. And also take advantage of the freshman orientation, because that way they give you tours and you get to know the school better.
In middle school, you are dependent on a lot of things. In high school, you are on your own. And if you need help, you need to advocate for yourself.
Probably the work, because it's harder.
The first time you take finals, every freshman freaks out because it's their first time, but once you're done with them, it's like, oh, that wasn't that big of a deal.
People a lot older than you. It's really shocking seeing the people with the little beards.
Maturity levels, and I don't know, maybe bigger difference would probably be who your friends are.
There's a lot more people, which is a lot more variety of people. So you've got more like groups.
The school year's gonna go by like way faster just because I think you're gonna have like way more fun.
Friends, the activities, the cons, just feels more like a community.
Biggest challenge about high school probably would be dealing with the people around you, because a lot of people are going through teenage hormones.
Fitting into a place, like having a place where you know you can stay, like having a second family.
The biggest challenge is probably time management.
Juggling everything.
Work. There's a lot of work.
You want to have good grades and you want your parents to be proud that you can manage multiple things, like playing on a really good team in basketball and also keeping at least an A, B, C grade. And it is a challenge.
The freedom, you definitely have a lot more freedom in middle school, and just a ton of kids, so a lot of friends.
The amount of people that you get to know and like how many different things that go on.
I guess I feel like there's more community and there's more like spirit and interaction.
It goes by so fast that it's really hard to tell what was your favorite thing about it. But sports is definitely like up there.
Definitely just being independent.
You get a lot more freedom, kind of, to choose what you want to do with all the electives.
We can get here a half an hour early and go talk to a teacher if we need to.
Even though sometimes the classes are not easy, the teachers are really helpful and they actually do care.
They're a little bit more challenging and you have to work a little bit harder at it. But once you get into things, it's not that hard.
Higher level than what was expected.
There's a lot more hours spent studying and doing homework.
It kind of depends on your classes. Like if you take an AP class, you get a lot more homework, but if you have regular classes, the homework load is kind of regular.
I actually have a lot less homework in high school just because we have a little bit more time in class to work on it, it seems like, because the teachers don't give as long of lessons.
I have a calendar in my room that like reminds me of certain events and like things that need to be turned in.
Yeah, I make a lot of lists. I just do period by period. What do I have to do?
Come home after school and the first thing I do would be my homework and make sure I get it done. And they give planners, which is really good because when I didn't use my planner, my grade was falling. But when I did, it started looking a lot better.
You know, keeping that mentality of what I'm looking forward to doing in life and who I want to be as a person, not the people around me.
Being on time, coming before school starts by sometimes an hour so I can talk to all my teachers.
I took AVID my freshman year, so that was a really helpful class to take.
I study at least like 2-3 hours before a test because I want to be prepared.
Hard work, dedication, like not with just homework, but with every sport and stuff.
I've got some of the same ones. Like we occasionally talk sometimes, but we all kind of like scattered.
Most of my friends in middle school went to a different school, so no.
A lot of the kids in middle school I don't really see because they're not in my classes. So I've made a lot of new friends.
It's confusing to find all your past classmates and all your friends because they're scattered everywhere. But then like you start to figure out what everyone is and you start to know where you sit at lunch and where to meet up with people.
Some of them I've just met at lunch. And some of them are like sophomores, juniors. It's not just freshmen.
I joined football during the summer and started making some new friends during weights.
Me being a shy person, you know, it was just a little bit hard at first, but as I joined groups, I found a few people from there and just having classes with people.
And then after you meet those people, then you'll meet their friends. And then after you meet their friends, then you meet those people's friends. And so then it'll just keep building up, building up.
This is like high school. It's supposed to be your better years according to like what everyone says and whatnot. So be more ready to be involved with things.
Don't be very shy, because if you're shy, you don't really warm up to the school as fast. So then it just stays harder for a longer amount of time.
There are a lot of things I learned in my past that I could have used in the future, but I kind of threw them away because summer and all.
Take a lot of notes. Don't talk during class.
Probably just to trust the teachers. They know what they're doing. They have gone through this with students every year.
That there's going to be a big change and you're just going to have to get used to it, but it's not too bad.
Be chill.
don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. You'll figure it all out.
A lot of people told me not to freak out, but I still did it. But I would say I'd probably go back and just tell myself not to freak out, because honestly, it's really not that scary once you get to freshman year.
Okay, parents, thank you for joining us this afternoon, and we wish you your child success in high school, in middle school, in elementary, in all grades. We are so thankful that you are here with us, and we hope to see you tomorrow afternoon at 4. And have a great evening. So thank you again for joining us today.